Aloha, welcome. Today's class is going to center around waking up our deep core. And this is actually a very subtle experience. It's as subtle as your exhale. Sometimes we hear the word core and we think it's like this effort kind of experience. And our body is way smarter than that. So we'll try to tune into that natural support that's available via the exhale and via the really deep musculature that sometimes we can't even feel. So we'll be tuning in and getting really quiet and letting this deep support system help us release all the superficial muscles. So we'll start kneeling. I have a block underneath my hips, which I recommend if that's comfortable for you. And in class today, we'll definitely need 2 blankets. 2 blocks might be handy, but not required. And then as you kneel here, if it feels like too much on the quads, you can even place a blanket over the heels, and that will just give you a little extra space. Oh, it feels really good. Even if you don't think you need it. I didn't think I needed it. And I'm glad I did it. So treat yourself. And then come to stillness. And if it feels comfortable, close the eyes. And start to tune into the breath. And this can be challenging depending on what you're doing right before this. So be patient, be compassionate, but become very interested in the sensation of the exhale. And as you exhale, the diaphragm at the base of the rib cage gently lifts. And as it lifts, it actually pulls musculature below it taut. And so this helps stabilize muscles in the core, muscles in the pelvis, muscles all the way down to the arches of the feet. We don't need to do anything. We don't need to create. We can just allow the intelligence of our body to support us. So let's take a few exhales to just tune in and notice or imagine a sense of a safety net as you exhale, a sense of love and cushioning and support surrounding all of the joints, all of the muscle fibers. Then as you tune into this deeper layer, you might start to notice areas of the body that feel tight. We go through our day with tension often. And right now is an opportunity to start to feel and see those unconscious holding patterns. And so if you notice a little tightness in the low back or the neck or whatever your spot is, see if you can use the exhale to create that little bit of natural support and buoyancy that tells the body it's safe to release the superficial muscle that's holding on. A really hilarious visual that just came to mind. You can open your eyes for this one. We take Malasada swimming, and even though she's got a life jacket, that's our dog. Even though she has a life jacket, she gets really nervous when we stop. Like she just kind of keeps swimming. And if we want her to relax, we have to like kind of scoop her up a little and make sure her legs and arms and whole body feel really supported. And then she relaxes. And our muscles are like that. It's like we have muscles that are like, I gotta work, I gotta do this, I'm freaking out right now. Even though it's illogical and doesn't make sense, you can't explain that to the muscles, you can't explain it to the dog. But what allows the relaxation to happen in the nervous system is a feeling of support and safety. And then we can start to let go. Let's just take a couple more breaths. You can imagine yourself floating in the ocean, very calm and supported. And then if you're following along with the musical playlist, you can hit play on the first song and make sure it's set to loop the single track. And then as we move a little bit, I like to have my knees wide, so I'm kind of like a triangle base, and I find that hard to do with the block. So if it's not uncomfortable for you at this time, remove your props, and if that is uncomfortable, leave your props and let the base be however is most comfortable. This takes quite a bit of flexibility in the ankles, so don't feel bad if it doesn't work for you. And so from here, let's play with the exhale a little bit more, but in a more active way. So inhale naturally and try to not draw the inhale in, but almost just float with the inhale. And then as you exhale, ever so gently unweight the hips from the heels. So just imagine you're getting a little bit lighter, and then inhale, set the hips back down. Exhale, maybe it's just like 5 pounds less weight in the heels, and then set it back down on the inhale. So each exhale lifts you. Make sure the knees feel okay with this. It's actually quite a strong movement. If you feel more pressure on the inside of the knees, try to allow the muscles on the outside of the legs to help support this a little bit more. And you can always do less, maybe just exhaling to unweight 1 pound of pressure instead of 5. And the reason we're doing this is I want you to start feeling that deeper support system. It's almost like an internal hydraulic system. I think that imagery must be for you, Bob. That just helps lift you up from the center. You can close the eyes if that helps you feel the sense of lightness and support from the inside. And then the next time you release down, release completely. Notice any warmth in the quadriceps and check in with the knees. Make sure they're okay with your decisions. And then slowly start to circle the weight around the base of the pelvis. So it might feel like this action is for the spine, but it's originating at the pelvic bowl, gently rocking side, back, other side, forward, and then your beautiful spine just follows. Head, neck, and shoulders follow. You guys all look really natural here. We want as much ease as possible in the arms so there's no tension. And start to notice the breath and notice wherever the placement of the body is. It doesn't have to be at a certain place. As you exhale, notice any sense of that little extra security, that little extra support, as I described before, as the diaphragm lifts and pulls the musculature below it, subtly taut. You don't have to do anything but breathe. It's happening. Hopefully we'll start to recognize it. And pause for a moment at center, and then start to circle the opposite direction, bringing extra awareness to the exhalation. Starting to become really interested in those very subtle muscular feelings, just as subtle as the breath. Sometimes we feel like when something's harder or more uncomfortable, like we're doing a better job, the muscle's getting stronger. And it's actually the easier and lighter we feel, it's often the strongest. For the last few circles, give yourself permission to allow the spine to round a little bit as you come forward, arch a little bit as you go back, only if that feels good, but we're starting to build warmth. Yeah, you can let the head and neck follow. Just avoid any sense of stretching. Sometimes that stretch sensation feels really good, but is often putting a lot of pressure on a single joint. Specifically, it might be happening in the neck or in the shoulders. So we want to feel evenness. And then just for good measure, go the other way, allowing that flexion and extension. And for these last couple of breaths, give yourself freedom. If you're feeling warm and you want to get a little more dramatic, you can, but you don't have to. More is not usually more. And then bring the weight to center and push down into the knees to slowly rise up to a high kneel. I'm going to turn to the side, but stay where you are so you can see me. Bring the knees a little bit closer together, but still generously wide. Keep the feet flat. And then bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your sacrum. The hand that's on the sacrum, gently guide it down, and notice how as the sacrum points towards the floor, there's a sense of lift and lightness from the front. And it shouldn't be a squeezing of the glutes or contracting of the rectus. It's just really subtle. Yeah. And then let it go. And do that a couple times. And this is helpful for 90% of people, but some people are already here. So if you're doing this and you feel like there's a sense of too far, you might be right, so try to honor what your body's asking for, but we're trying to find a neutral pelvis where our tight hip flexors can start getting some space. Nice. Yeah. And if you want to sync it with the breath, start to exhale as the front hand lifts, and then inhale to relax and spill. The next time you exhale, pause there, and we'll keep this orientation, and we'll just bend from the knees so the whole body leans back a little bit, and then float back up. And at this point, the hands can come to the hip creases. This is just sort of nice proprioception awareness of the pelvis here. Exhale as you lean back, and inhale to come forward. And move at your own pace now. And the reason why it's so important we exhale here is because this is actually demanding a lot of our psoas, which is a deep hip flexor and a deep core muscle. And we want that extra exhale support that happens as the diaphragm lifts and literally pulls on the top of the psoas. And as you take a few more on your own, try to feel that sense of deep support. Give me a little wave if you feel that almost little brightness that's like, oh, cool. Yeah, like it's not the kind of core work we're used to, but it's there. Yeah. And then the next time you come back up, pause, and we'll actually all turn to the side. So turn to your right, come down to tabletop, and we'll take a moment to warm up our shoulders a little bit. So first, paw out the mat, shifting the weight from side to side. Make sure the elbows are generously bent, which often means bringing the hands a little closer to the knees. So you get springier in the elbows. And then bring extra weight to the pinky side of the hand and let the 3 middle knuckles lift. Imagine there's a horseshoe from pinky to thumb, and that's where most of your weight is. And the center of the hand is really light, like a suction cup. And then start to lower one elbow at a time, and then come back up to the softest, gentlest hands. And then one elbow at a time. I'm going to make sure you're breathing and start to feel the progression of placing the wrist and taking weight in wrist, elbow, shoulder, and how that connects down to the deep core that we've been starting to wake up. And then start to go the other way. So opposite forearm down first. The next time, well, actually, let's do a few more. To be fair on the second side gets jipped a lot. And the next time the forearms lower, pause there. Let the index fingers point towards one another. That's just a little kinder on the rotator cuff. And start to circle the weight around the elbows. So the shoulders, draw a big circle around the elbows, and you might start to feel different muscles waking up in the shoulder complex. You can circle the other way. And again, notice any sense of support that you feel at any time, but especially during the exhale, almost that weightless quality. And then slowly come back onto the hands, and we'll do a little progression from here. So slide the left foot back, and then bring it underneath you again. And we're going to do this one more time on the exhale. And imagine as the foot slides back that the rest of the body doesn't even know. So weightless. Keep the toes down. Yeah, let's actually do that a couple times because it's such a useful exercise. And then the next time the foot's back, pause there. Reach the right hand forward. Unweight the left foot. So our classic bird dog here for a moment. Reach hand and foot apart, getting really long. Take a breath in, and then as you exhale, imagine like a half X. The leg goes to the left, the arm goes to the right, just a little bit. And then inhale back to center, and then exhale to float. For me, it's just a few degrees, maybe just like 5 degrees. And as you exhale, I want you to feel how the arm and leg connect to the core. And maybe even just moving 1 degree is challenging, but we want to feel this coming from the center of our body and not the peripheral muscles. So not the glutes, not the outer thigh, but that deep brightening that we've been working with. The next time you reach forward, pause there, release the hand down, and exhale to curl the knee underneath you, rounding the spine. And then extend the left leg back once again. Shift the weight into the left hand and draw a big circle with the right hand forward, up and back. As the hand comes down, tuck the right toes under. Push into the hands to unweight the right knee. Stretch the hips up and back. We'll take a staggered down dog. And then release the right knee down, and we'll do this whole sequence one more time. So inhale, reach the right hand forward, float the left leg. Exhale to open them just a few degrees, connecting to the core. And then set the foot down, big circle with the right arm. As the arm circles down, unweight the right knee and push back to your staggered down dog. Gently sway the hips from side to side. And then set the right knee down, shift the weight into the right hand, and look back at the left toes. You'll see that the left toes are pointed down. Slowly start to push down into the right knee, and notice how the left toes get lighter. Lift them off the mat. Keep pushing down into the right knee, allowing the hips to start to open up towards me. Yeah. And then release that down, and we're going to be doing this a few times so you can move at your own pace. But notice how the pushing down with the right leg lets the left leg be really light. You might start to feel the right glutes waking up, especially the deeper layers of the glutes. It's it might be an unfamiliar action. You'll know you're doing it right if the right leg, the grounded leg, is getting tired. Doesn't matter how high the left leg lifts or how much it turns. It's really about what's turning on in the right leg. And the next time you float open, pause there for one breath. And then slowly release the left toes down. And let's take one last circle in the opposite direction. And one last staggered down dog. And then bring the left knee in, press the hips back to the heels, and roll the wrists on the mat. So just rolling in and out to massage the wrists. And then push down into the knees. Slowly roll up into a high kneel. We're going to do the second side, but I want to give your wrists a little break. Turn to face me, just because it will be easier to understand what we're about to do. So step the knees a little bit wide. And sometimes here, you can feel compression in the low back, which we don't want. So if at any point you feel compression in the low back, you can go to a normal hips distance stance. Remember that feeling as we reach the arm and leg apart in the X, and there was sort of that integration towards center. We're going to try to find that here. So let's explore. Reach the hands up. We'll start with our same movement of just leaning back a little bit. So same as before. The knees are wider now. There's more of a tendency for the back side of the body to over-dominate, which we don't want. So if you feel pinching, don't go as far or adjust the knees. We'll exhale back and then inhale to float up. One more time. The next time you float up, we'll exhale over to the left side. And then inhale up and exhale over to the other side. And we'll be going side to side and start to notice that same sensation. The legs are in a very similar orientation to that last pose where the leg reached out to a half X. And I want you to feel how the two legs integrate into the core. And it's not about going far to the side, but it's really about feeling the inner thighs, the lifting and supporting into the pelvic floor. It's really important to do the exhale as you go to the side to help with that. One more to each side. And then we'll pause at the center, release the arms down, and walk the knees underneath you, and just notice any awareness that you have through the center of the body. There's literal musculature that runs all the way up the center of the body, closest to the spine, closest to our organs and our breath. And then we'll turn for tabletop in the other direction. So come down to your tabletop. And I want to make sure we go the second way, so I have to think about it for a second. Okay, so start to glide the right foot forward and back. The exhale is what's going to send it back. And see if you can feel, so Dandy, try to move like 5 times as slow, like this slow. It takes so much strength to move with that control. It might feel easy, but you're waking up a lot of intelligence in the body. The next time the leg slides out, hover the foot, reach the left arm forward. Take a breath here, inhaling to lengthen as far as is comfortable, and then exhale, the leg goes to the right, the arm goes to the left. Inhale to center, and exhale to open just a few degrees. And try to keep the arm and leg opposite one another, so the further the arm goes, the further, or I should say, the lack of mobility in the leg should limit how open the arm goes. Try to feel how the two can work together to support you. The next time the arm and leg reach forward, exhale, place the hand down, curl the knee in to meet the nose. Let the whole back of the body lengthen. Take a breath, filling that space. And then extend the right leg out, toes tucked under, reach the left fingertips forward, up and back. Let this be a massage for the left side of the hip and the IT band. Tuck left toes under, push into hands, lift the knee, and as you're ready, press back to your stagger down dog. And then we'll repeat that, slowly releasing forward. Let right arm or left arm and right leg fly. And then exhale to open just a little bit. Less is really more with this one. And try to feel how the arm and leg relate to one another and how they connect at your center, like the spokes of a wheel. The next time everything reaches forward, curl in. And then lengthen the leg back. Left arm draws a big circle, opening up through the left side. Plant the hand, press back. Take one extra moment here. Soften through the back of the body. The hips can sway if that feels good. And then release the left knee down and slowly start to push into the left knee. Look at the right toes and notice how the more you push into the left knee, the more the toes naturally start to turn out and float a little bit higher, and then set that down. And then start to use the exhale to push down into the left knee, unweighting the right leg, letting the hips stack and open so the toes turn open to the side. Take your time exploring this. It's pretty common in our culture to have dysfunction in the glute muscles that are required for this movement. So this is great medicine, but also be compassionate with yourself. Make sure you can breathe. Make sure the joint feels supported. And the next time you lift, pause there, building out, for me, a lot of warmth in the left hip. And then release the right toes down. Last big circle with the left hand. Enjoy that sense of space on the left hip, stretching what was just contracting. And then as you place the hand down, press up and back into the stagger. Down dog. Take an extra breath here if it feels good. And then set the knees down. And I'm realizing we've done a lot on the knees and we have a little bit more kneeling. So if you want to grab your blanket to support your knees, go for it. And you can hit play on the next musical track. Feel free to grab a sip of water as long as we're doing all our housekeeping. So for this one, you'll need room in front of you and behind you. So I think it's best to stay on your mat as you are. But at some points I might turn just so that you can understand the movement and see my body from different angles. Yeah, I think I'm going to just do that, actually. So let's shift the weight. And I'm not going to mirror because if you guys are on the side, then it gets really confusing. So shift the weight into the left leg and step the right leg off to the side, wherever is comfortable, wherever you step without thinking about it. And then start to bounce the right foot. And you want the hip to feel safe. You want the knee to feel safe. So do this very tenderly at first, almost as if you were on, this is terrible, you're on gravel. And so you want to be really gentle with the foot, right? You don't want to step down too hard. You know you've forgotten something in your car and you have to run out barefoot. It's possible, but you have to move a certain way. And then place your foot somewhere you haven't put it yet. And start to feel the stabilization in the ankle. You should never feel pressure on the inside or outside or front of the knee. You actually don't want to feel pressure anywhere in the knee. And so if you are feeling too much in the knee, move a little slower. Don't go as far with the knee. And then when you find a place where you would like to pause because it feels good and sustainable, pause there. And we'll bring our arms to a T. Come into your stretch. So that's bending your knee, and it's okay to walk the foot further if you feel like you need it. And then come out just an inch and let the hands drop. And notice that sense of security when you come out, that sense of everything being a little more supported. And then we'll inhale, come back in, and exhale to come out. And start to feel that sense of everything hugging towards the center and helping you lift, helping you feel lighter, and try to prevent the pelvis from tipping forward. So Charlotte, you might want a little bit shorter of a stance just so that the pelvis can drop a little bit. Stack your hip over your knee. Yeah, I see you as kind of like figuring it out. That's good. And then the next time you float out of it, pause and notice that sense of the center of the body lifting and rising. Reach your arms up to a soft V, no tension in the shoulders. So Janice, put your arms back down and scoop the arms up like this. So put them down and imagine there's air in front of you and you're like scooping up. So they're really soft. A little bit softer. Like, yeah, there you go. There you go. Nice. And so now we'll start to circle, kind of like we did in the beginning from kneeling. And try to feel how the legs are connected and the legs are initiating the movement and the spine is following. And if this feels good, you can make bigger circles, but if your body's just figuring it out, you can stay upright and make really small circles. So please honor yourself. The joints should feel really supported and light. And then release the hands down. Walk the front foot over to the right a little bit more so you have some space. Start to kick into the right heel and reach the right arm forward. And notice how those two actions can impact each other. So bend the knee and the elbow and then use your exhale to reach and kick at the same time. Bend, connecting, and exhale, lengthening. It's where yours is, like forward and to the side. And the next time you kick and reach, take one big circle with the lifted hand, letting the rib cage open. You might feel a little resistance through the outside of the right leg, which is okay as long as there's no pain. And then as the hand circles all the way down, this is the point where, let's see. Okay. Push into the feet and slowly rise up, reach up, and play with hovering the leg for a moment. You're not far from the ground, so don't be afraid of falling. And then put the knee down, release the arms, and pause at center, just taking in that information. And let's draw some little hip circles. Step the knees a little bit wider, and as the pelvis comes forward, side, back, other side, imagine each of those spaces just melting and releasing, creating a little extra space through the front line of the body, the lateral line, and then the back line. And then circle the opposite direction. And now shift the weight into the right knee and start to first just step the left foot off to the side and then start to make little bounces, shifting the weight into the left leg so you can replace, or into the right knee so you can replace where the left foot is. And start to notice a sense of support in the ankle and stability in the knee. Keeping the weight in the heel is going to help support the knee. Letting the knee drift in the direction of the feet is going to prevent pressure on the medial and collateral ligaments, so inside and outside of the knee. And then when it feels safe and springy, you can make little bigger hops with this, letting the leg compress like an accordion where the ankle folds, the knee folds, the hip folds. Nice, Roseanne. Great, Bob. And then find the place where you're like, yeah, I could stay here. This is interesting. And take a moment to relax. Make sure the pelvis is stacking over the left knee. So all that means is that same exercise of the sacrum lengthening down and the top of the pelvis starting to be gently lifted and supported. And then arms to T, bend into the left knee, and then push down into the foot and the knee to come out just an inch. Yeah, and take a few floats like this. The exhale is what lifts you up. And start to feel that sense of lift coming from the inner thighs all the way up along the spine. And it's really subtle, but it should feel like you're floating. You're light. There's no sense of exertion. It's really a buoyancy. The next time you float out of it, scoop the arms up, soft shoulders, and now start to circle, trying to shift the weight around in the foot and the knee, noticing how the rest of the body just naturally follows. And we want to feel that center line as a support. With everything connected, no pressure in any of the joints, you can circle the opposite direction. And then walk the left foot forward a little bit and to the left a little bit. So you've got a kind of like in a more expanded base. Release the hands down and then start to kick into the left leg. Lift the left arm, bend the left knee, and then kick into the left leg again as you reach the left arm forward. Bend elbow and knee, and then kick and extend at the same time. And try to feel how when the two work together, it's almost like you can't go quite as far because there's more of a sense of connection and support. Yeah, nice, Janice. You can twist to the left as you kick and reach. And the next time you kick and reach, pause for one moment. And then release the hand down. Shift the weight into the right knee. Slowly roll up and then pause for 1 second, balancing on the right leg. You can kick your foot in other directions if you want to explore it a little bit. And then set the knee underneath you. Move your blanket off to the side. If you have two blocks, they might come in handy as we do some standing forward bends so you can get them ready. If you don't have them, that's not a game changer. That's totally fine. So from kneeling, walk the hands in, lift the knees. We're coming into a forward fold. You can come into this however you want. I like to unfold, letting my heels drop to the earth as my hips lift. Deep bend in the knees so the posterior chain is unloaded. Hands can be anywhere on the legs. Check in with the neck. Make sure the neck feels like it's connected to the center of your body. Sometimes it drops too much and there's a lot of pressure. Rock the weight forward and back on the feet. Keep the big toe down as you rock back. And the next time you rock back, bend the knees a little bit more. Let the hips get heavy. Imagine the hamstrings pulling down on the base of the pelvis and allow that action to start to stack one vertebra at a time. You can press your hips forward to help stack the vertebra really slowly and actually trying to feel that one at a time domino effect. The head comes up last. And just pause at standing. Notice any sense of lightness in the body. And then you can turn to face me at the center of the mat and take some nice easy hops. And hops aren't for everyone. So if this doesn't feel good on your joints, don't do it. But if it does feel good, there is a lot of benefit to it. So try it, check in. You can always keep your heels down. That actually works really well. So if that feels better, keep the balls of the feet down and just lift and lower the heels. That actually feels really awesome. And imagine all the superficial muscles in the neck and the shoulders and the back releasing. And then come to stillness for a moment. Close the eyes and Bring your awareness to the beating of your heart. Start to shift the weight from foot to foot, and as you do that, let the opposite leg reach. And we've been working a lot with reaching the leg to the side while feeling how it relates to the other leg and the core. So it's not about reaching very far. Yeah, let it be really natural. And then try moving a little bit slower. And try to feel the chain reaction as the weight shifts and the whole body follows from the bottom up. And the next time both feet are down, pause there. And then slowly start to turn both feet over to the right. And as you do that, the left foot is going to step out a little bit. Great. So you're probably in a shorter stance than you're used to, but you all look really good and supported. So just try this stance for now, and then you can always adjust. So take a moment to make sure the right foot and the left foot are kind of wide, like you're on railroad tracks. And then push into the right heel. So as you push into the right heel, there might be just a little more awareness on the back side of the right leg. Start to bend the right knee and scoop the arms up for a short Virabhadrasana 1, and try to feel equal weight in both feet. And notice how the legs relate to one another and how you can get a little extra lift and length through the spine. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, drape the body forward over the bent knee. Weight stays in the right heel. Start to kick into the right heel to extend the right leg and slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. At the top, bend the knee, scoop the air up back to Virabhadrasana 1, and we'll repeat. As you do this, if you want more space between the legs, you can definitely step the back foot back and explore that. So from here, the body drapes. Try to keep equal weight in both legs. Slow roll up, the leg straightens, the hamstring pulls down on the base of the pelvis, stacking the spine one vertebra at a time, and then bend the knees, extend the spine. The reason I like a short stance here, at least for today, is it makes it easier to keep both legs connected to one another and to have more awareness of that back leg. If you notice that your front leg is getting really tired, that's a good indication that you could have a little more pressure in the back leg. So try pushing down into that back leg. Perhaps you don't lean as far forward, or as you lean forward, the support is coming more from the deep core and less from the right leg. The next time you release forward, pause there, shift the weight into the right foot, and reach the right arm forward. Nothing in the body changes except the left leg lifts, and take a few toe taps, lifting and lowering. The right glute should get really warm quite quickly. That's good. Embrace it. Make sure you're breathing. Keep the right big toe down, and you might feel some wobbles there. That's your intelligent body figuring out how to balance here. The next time the leg lifts, pause for 1 moment, and then gently set the back foot down, bend into the right knee, and take a gentle twist to the right. Push a little extra through the outer edge of the left foot, and notice how that sends the rotational signal all the way up the whole left side of the body. Soft shoulders, drip the elbows down, and then push into the right leg and turn back to straddle on the left. It's okay if the feet are a little off kilter. Take your bounces back to center. If it feels good, you can keep bouncing, and then start to turn the feet over to the left. Remember, the right leg is going to step wide, so you're on railroad tracks, and you can take a few bounces to find that. And then same thing, second side. So keep the weight in the left heel. Start to bend the left knee. And just for fun on the second side, with the weight in the heel, you can bend the knee generously, and you've got a lot of support from the deep core of the calf, the soleus, the hamstring, so you don't have to worry about the knee not being safe. And then scoop the air up, creating more space in the front of the body. Feel one arc from right ankle crease all the way up right hip and spine. And then drape the body over the leg, equal weight in both feet. Kick into the left heel, straighten the leg, slowly roll up, and try to feel how straightening the leg initiates the roll up in the spine. They don't happen separately. Bend the knee, scoop the air up. Beautiful, Roseanne, so integrated. And then as you're ready, release forward. Try to move as smoothly and slowly as possible here, so there's no difference. There's no beginning, middle, and end. It's just one circuit. Bring your awareness into the right leg and try to feel how it can participate, and give yourself permission to adjust where the feet are. You might get a little signal from the body like, I want more space or less space. Try to listen. And the next time you come into the forward fold, pause there, reach the left arm forward, shift the weight into the left foot. Everything stays where it is, but just unweight the right leg and take some leg lifts, and you'll know you're doing it right if the left leg gets warm really quickly. Try to, as the leg lifts, keep the left knee where it is. It might want to knock in because the two inner thighs are connected. Prevent that, and the deep core will turn on even more. The next time the leg lifts, pause, take a breath, and then release the back foot down and turn the toes towards center. Take a few extra hops, or you can just lift and lower the heels, whatever gets the soft tissue vibrating a little bit. And then let's actually hop all the way into center and take a little walk, just noticing the warmth in the joints. Make sure nothing is feeling cranky. Check in with the low back, check in with the knees, and luckily, if we pay attention, you can explore, you can push it a little too much, and you're not going to get injured if you notice. And then you say, oh, okay, next time I'm not going to go as far. So let this be an opportunity to self-assess. And then let the arms and legs swing a little bit more, noticing any sense of springiness or freedom. And we can make our way back to the mat. Feel free to take a sip of water. And you can face me, and option to have a block nearby. Just like we did before, paw out the mat, stepping one foot out at a time. And we've done a lot to warm up the legs here. So I'll give yourself space to explore what it feels like to step the feet a little further apart. As you come through center, try to sink the hips down like you're drawing a smiley face. Or, well, just the smile. That would be really complicated. And then pause with both feet on the ground. Turn the feet out any amount that feels comfortable, and as you bend into the knees, make sure the angle of the thighs is the same as the angle of the feet. If the thighs point in, point the feet in a little more to support the knees better. And we'll explore goddess pose and anchor the big toes. Gently spiral the thighs open so the knees come nice and wide. You'll probably feel a little bit extra happening here in the muscles that we've been warming up. And then make sure you can sway from side to side. And it's not just for fun. It's so that we're not locking up and we're not gripping. If we can move, if we're supple, the deep core is on and nothing is over engaging. Can allow the arms to start to sway. And then pause at center, drop the right arm, let the left arm lift and reach. If it feels good, you can drop through the right sit bone a little bit more. Take a breath through the left side, and then place the right hand on the thigh and rotate the heart up and down a couple of times. As the heart rotates open, press into the bottom thigh to prevent the knee from rolling in. And the next time you spiral open, pause there. Sink the hips down a little bit more if it feels good. If it doesn't feel good, please don't do it. And then push into both legs, reach open to T, all 10 toes forward, and release forward. Hands to block, or bend the knees deeply and place the hands on the leg or the floor. Gently sway from side to side, pushing into one foot, letting the rest of the body respond and sway the opposite direction. And then come to center, bend the knees, weight in the heels, slow roll up just like we've been practicing. Knees and toes out, but you don't need to rush. Good job moving slowly. Start to shift from side to side. Last goddess pose. I'm always encouraging people to find a lot of support, but you don't need to be afraid of going deeper as the muscles crave it. So if you want to step the feet wider and that you can still move and you still feel pliable and light, you're welcome to try that. And then bring the hips to center, drop the left arm, take your right side bend, dropping through the left sit bone just a little bit, breathing into the right side of the body. And then left hand to thigh and start to rotate open and closed. If the thighs get tired, you can come out of this at any time. And next time the heart rotates open, pause there. Option to let the sits bones get a little heavier. And then press into the feet, reach up, all 10 toes forward, and melt forward. You can hold steady or you can sway. Bend the knees deeply enough that you can place the hands down and then slowly lower one knee at a time into tabletop. You can skip to the fourth track or cool down track. Move your block out of the way. And sit the hips over to the left. We've done a lot to warm the muscles in the hips, and Bharadvajasana is a really nice way to create a little extra space through the spiral around the hips. So as you twist to the left, gently push the left leg down into the earth. And as you do that, see if you can feel that center channel becoming lighter. On your next and exhale, gently rotate to the left. Take a couple of breaths here. The head and neck can follow the spine. If it feels good, you can gently drop the left ear towards the left shoulder to stretch the side of the neck. And then gently untwist, push down into the knees to float up to a high kneel. Just for good measure, we can take a couple of rock backs, just letting everything wire into center. Nice, you're welcome to go back a little further if it feels good. You can add the arms in this time if you'd like, floating them forward as you lean back. Bob, you're leaning to the left a little bit extra. See if you can feel even and maybe not go as far. Nice. You got it. And then pause in the rock back, push down into the knees. And it's not a back bend, but just breathe into the heart, getting light through the rib cage. And then float back to center. Sit the hips over to the right and gently start to twist to the right. This time the right leg pushes down to lighten the spine. Take a couple of breaths here. And then, oh, I forgot the side the add in the neck. If you did so on the second side, gently letting the right ear reach towards the right shoulder, lengthening through the left side of the neck. You can draw little circles with the chin to massage the neck muscles. And then push down into the legs to unweight the body and slowly come back to center. Push down into the shins, but we're not going to float up this time. Instead, we're going to make our super cool headrest. So grab your blanket and the blanket should be folded in half. That yoga blanket home base looks good. And then okay, I hired a cameraman for today. So we'll start by rolling up the top layer until you have a pretty generous, this is going to support your neck, so you want to think like neck pillow, but not quite as intense as an airplane one. Mine's probably like 2.5 inches thick when I roll it up. And then once you do that, slide it down just a little bit so that there will be room beyond it for your skull. After you've done that, take the two sides of the roll, we're doing origami, and tuck the ends underneath. And what this is going to do is create support for the left and right side of your head. So it's kind of like a massage table situation where you've got a donut. Can you guys see that? So there's some support. Yeah, okay. The people here did it, so I think you did it too. And you can always make adjustments. Maybe stay there while I show what it's going to look like. And then place it so you've got enough room. Before you lay down, you'll grab your other blanket and make a big roll, because this is going to go behind the knees. So the head comes down over that nice generous roll that you created, and I'm folding mine again because I really want to feel support on the base of the skull, so it's lengthening out. And then you can adjust how tucked in the sides are so that you feel support on the right and left side. So if you're not sure if you did it right, it means you didn't do it right. Because you should lay down and be like, whoa, this feels really nice. I love it. Thumbs up from Bob. Okay. Give me a yes. Thumbs up from Janice. This is going well. Yeah, take your time. It's worth it. So what I find is I usually don't roll it enough, and then I have to do some extra tucks and moves around so I actually feel supported. If you're in person, thumbs up. Yes. Okay. Yes, Roseanne, thumbs up. We are 5 for 5, 6 for 6. Okay. So hopefully your phone is in reach so you can pause your music. And with your nice little headrest, bend your knees, walk the feet in. And walk the feet nice and wide just to do some gentle windshield wipers from side to side. And then try moving not as far and not as fast. And notice how that slower centered movement gives you more awareness of this deep core that we've been working. This connective tissue that supports us literally from the inside out. It's not an idea, it's real muscles that are very important. And then pause for a moment with the knees at center. Assess your body, and perhaps you want to hug the knees in or take a gentle twist from side to side, or maybe you feel ready to extend the legs and place your roll underneath the center of the knees. And I say the center of the knees because if the roll is too far up, it's going to lift on the thigh bones and put pressure in the hip sockets. So you want it to be right at the apex of the knees, and then there's no pressure in the ankles, no pressure in the hips. And then close the eyes if it feels welcoming. And start to tune into your exhale. And notice any sense of familiarity. And the obvious part of the exhale is the sense of release. But feel beyond that, deeper inside, the sense of how the exhale ties everything together. It's like the glue between the cells. The space between the atoms. And we'll rest here, letting the exhale passively support us and unite us. You can keep your focus on it, or you can completely let go of any effort and just know that you're supported and you're nourished. Notice how present you are. Notice how easy it is to witness the breath. And see if you can stay in this space of subtler awareness as you gently move and eventually find your way to seated. We'll be chanting together the mantra to Chenrezig, the Buddha of compassion. Om Mani Padme Hum. And after the work of peeling away the physical layer and going beyond the breath and beyond the mind, you may have the opportunity to feel these vibrations from a deeper space. And so I invite you to sit comfortably and chant at any volume that helps you resonate and vibrate all of the cells in your body to this sacred vibration. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om You can gently close the eyes or shift your gaze to a single point. Notice any sense of being soothed and supported by the energy of the mantra. We can rest our attention on the breath. And the mantra has pointed our awareness in the direction towards the inner self. And now with each breath we can walk that path closer and closer to our most perfect form. Attach the natural breath mantra. Hum to each inhale, sa to each exhale. Just like with our physical practice, less is more. Less control of the breath, less effort. And after doing so much to feel the subtleness of the deep core for over an hour, it might be really easy for you in this moment to drop into the breath and into the mantra and feel their energetic support on an even deeper level. Start to notice the moments of space between the breath, and really this is awareness of the space that holds everything. When the breath comes in, we can touch the space in that pause. And the space is still there as the breath goes out. And it becomes more apparent in the pauses, though it is really the container that is supporting everything. And so as you notice that moment of hang time, of freedom, of absolute stillness, try to feel how that place is still there even as you continue to breathe. Namaste. Thank you so much for being here and practicing, and we did a lot of subtle work, so I invite you to notice how you feel the rest of the day with the physical support and also the support of the breath and the energetic support that we've cultivated together. Take care, everybody. See you soon. Aloha. Thanks for playing music, Satyam. Way to go, Roseanne. You're muted. I can't hear you. If you said something. I don't know.
I did. I said I'm ready for
Oh, you definitely earned one, but I'm so glad that you're feeling well enough to practice. I know it kind of helps things move out. Yeah. Take care. Let us know if you need anything. Bye, Bob. Great to see you.